Luna stood at the edge of the broken moon, her boots sinking slightly into the gray dust that covered everything like powdered bone. The sky above was not empty. It swirled with colors no human eye could name, ribbons of violet and emerald twisting around a black hole that hummed like a sleeping god. She had come here chasing a whisper, a signal buried deep in the static of dead comms channels. It had spoken in her mother's voice, though her mother had been gone for 20 cycles, turned to stardust during the fall of Valerian. At her feet, Ember snuffled softly, his tiny claws clicking against a shard of obsidian. He was no bigger than a house cat, with scales that shifted from deep red to molten gold depending on his mood. Right now, he was nervous. His wings, thin as stained glass, twitched with every distant rumble from the black hole. "I know," Luna murmured, crouching to scratch behind his horns. "It feels wrong here. Too quiet." The moon, once called Kalis Prime, had been a research outpost for the Galactic Archive before the Zenthra Empire erased it from star charts. Now it was a graveyard of half-buried domes and shattered data spires, all coated in that same fine gray dust. But something had woken up down below, something that shouldn't exist. Luna adjusted the strap of her satchel where a single crystal orb pulsed faintly, a relic from her people, the Star Elves. It had grown warm the moment they entered orbit, as if recognizing a long-lost sibling. That was why she'd landed alone, against protocol, against reason. Ember had insisted on coming. He always did. She moved toward the largest ruin, a dome cracked open like a rotten fruit. Inside, the air smelled of ozone and old blood. Her boots echoed on the metal floor, each step sending ripples through puddles of iridescent liquid that shouldn't be there, liquid that shimmered with the same colors as the sky. Then she saw it. In the center of the chamber, suspended in a column of light, floated a woman. She wore armor unlike anything Luna had seen. Sleek, organic, as if grown rather than forged. Silver veins pulsed across its surface, syncing with the woman's slow breaths. Her hair was black as void space, her skin pale like moonstone, and her eyes were closed, but Luna could feel them watching. Ember growled low in his throat, puffing a wisp of smoke. "Who are you?" Luna called, her voice steady despite the chill crawling up her spine. The woman's eyes opened. They burned with cold blue fire. The light column vanished. She dropped to the floor with unnatural grace, landing without a sound. For a long moment, she simply stared at Luna, her expression unreadable. "You came," the woman said finally. Her voice was smooth, layered with echoes, as if 10 people spoke at once. "I knew you would." "How?" Luna kept her hand near her blade, though she didn't draw it. "Not yet. Because you are the last of the Star Elves, and I am the one who remembers them." Luna's breath caught. Only 3 beings in the known galaxy knew that phrase. Her elders all dead and the one who had betrayed them. "Celine," she whispered. The woman smiled. "You remember my name? How sweet. Celine of Zenthra. Once a scholar, once a friend. Now the heir to an empire that fed on dying stars." Luna had watched her burn Alarian from orbit, laughing as the planet's song faded into silence. "You're supposed to be dead," Luna said. "Death is a suggestion," Celine replied, stepping forward, "especially when you command time itself." As if on cue, the walls of the chamber began to shift. Metal panels slid aside, revealing rows of stasis pods, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Inside each one floated a being. Elves, humans, Zenthra warriors, even creatures Luna had never seen before. All alive, all waiting. "What is this?" Luna asked, her voice tight. "My collection," Celine said, her smile widening. "Every rare soul I've found across the spiral arms. Artists, warriors, dreamers. And you, Luna, the rarest of all." Ember hissed, flames flickering between his teeth. "You won't take me," Luna said. "Oh, but I already have," Celine replied. The floor beneath Luna's feet dissolved into light. She dropped, but not into darkness, into memory. Suddenly, she was 10 cycles old again, standing in the gardens of Valerian. The twin suns warmed her skin. Her mother knelt beside her, weaving starlight into a crown. "You will carry our song when we are gone," she had said. Then the sky turned red. Ships descended like vultures, and Celine stood at the lead, her hands outstretched, not in war, but in invitation. "Join me," young Celine had said. "Together we can save them." But Luna had refused, and Alarian had burned. The memory shattered. Luna gasped back in the chamber on her knees. Sweat soaked her tunic. Ember nuzzled her cheek, his warmth grounding her. You've been playing with time, Luna said, rising slowly. Not playing, Celine corrected. Repairing. The universe is broken, Luna. Species vanish before they can sing their songs. Civilizations rise and fall in silence. I am preserving what matters. By locking them in glass boxes. By keeping them safe until the storm passes. There is no storm, Luna snapped. Only your hunger. Celine's expression darkened. The blue fire in her eyes flared. You think I want power? I want meaning. And you shine brighter than any star I've ever seen. You belong with me. I belong to no one. Celine sighed as if disappointed. Then you leave me no choice, she raised her hand. The stasis pods began to open. Figures stepped out. Warriors with glowing eyes, mages with chains of light wrapped around their wrists, beasts with too many eyes and too many teeth. All of them bowed to Celine. All of them turned to Luna. You will join them willingly, Celine said, or you will join them broken. Luna drew her blade. It hummed to life, etched with constellations that shifted as she moved. Ember leapt onto her shoulder, his body swelling slightly, his scales darkening to battle. Red, you don't know what I've become, Luna said. Selena laughed. I know exactly what you've become, lonely, tired, running from a past you can't outrun. I offer you peace, a place where you are never alone again. For a heartbeat, Luna hesitated. The offer was tempting. How many nights had she stared into the void, wondering if anyone else remembered the songs of Valerian? How many times had she wished for someone who understood the weight of being the last? But then she looked at Ember, her friend, her family, and knew the truth. Peace without freedom was just another kind of prison. No, she said. The first warrior lunged. Luna moved like liquid shadow, her blade slicing through armor and bone alike. Ember launched himself into the air, breathing a cone of golden fire that didn't burn. It unraveled. Wherever his flames touched, the mind control bonds Celine had placed on her prisoners began to dissolve. Eyes cleared. Shoulders straightened. Confusion turned to rage. Stop them, Celine shouted, her voice cracking. But it was too late. The prisoners turned on their captor. Chaos erupted. Magic clashed with tech. Claws met steel. And through it all, Luna fought her way toward Celine. The chamber shook. Cracks spread across the ceiling. Outside, the black hole's hum grew louder, angrier. You don't understand, Celine screamed, backing toward the center of the room. Without me, they will be lost. Forgotten. Maybe, Luna said, stepping over fallen warriors. But they'll be free. Celine's eyes filled with something like grief. Then she slammed her palm onto the floor. The entire moon groaned. Alarms blared from deep within the ruins. The ground split open, revealing a massive engine pulsing with stolen starlight. The heart of Celine's time anchor. The machine that kept this place frozen between seconds. If I can't have you, Celine said, her voice breaking, then no one will. She activated the core, energy surged. Time itself began to warp. Luna felt her body stretching, her thoughts scattering like leaves in a hurricane. Ember cried out, his form flickering in and out of existence. But Luna held on. She reached into her satchel and pulled out the crystal orb. It blazed with white light, singing a song older than galaxies. The song of the star elves. She threw it into the core. The explosion was silent. Light filled everything. Pure, clean, final. When Luna opened her eyes, she was floating in space, the broken moon crumbling behind her. Ember clung to her chest unharmed. Around them, the freed prisoners drifted in escape pods, blinking in the sunlight of a real star. And Celine, gone. Only a single silver feather floated past Luna's face, glowing faintly before dissolving into stardust. Luna exhaled, holding Ember close. The black hole had vanished. In its place hung a newborn nebula, swirling with colors that almost looked like a song. She activated her wrist comm. This is Luna. Mission complete. Heading home. But as her ship's engines fired, she glanced back one last time. Deep in the nebula's heart, something flickered, a pulse of blue light, steady and slow, like a heartbeat. Celine wasn't gone, just waiting, and Luna knew, with cold certainty, that this was only the beginning. Luna's ship drifted through the quiet dark between stars, its hull still warm from the explosion that had torn the broken moon apart. Inside the cockpit, Ember lay curled on the console, his breathing slow and steady. Luna watched the newborn nebula shrink in the rear viewer, its colors fading like a dream upon waking. She should have felt relief. Instead, a cold knot sat in her stomach. Celine was gone, or so it seemed. But that single pulse of blue light in the nebula's heart had not been random. It had been a signal, a promise. 3 days passed in silence. Luna checked every system, ran diagnostics, reviewed the escape pod logs from the freed prisoners. Over 200 souls had made it out. Some were already sending thanks through encrypted channels. Others vanished into the void, seeking new lives far from Zenthra's reach. But none mentioned Celine. None had seen her escape. On the 4th day, the ship's sensors pinged. Not a distress call. Not a ship. Just a whisper. A data packet wrapped in starlight code, the kind only a star elf could read. Luna's fingers trembled as she opened it. The screen filled with Selene's face. Not the cold conqueror from the moon, but a younger version, soft-eyed, smiling, standing beside Luna in the gardens of Alarion, both of them barely more than girls. "If you're seeing this," Celine's voice said, gentle and sad. "Then I failed again, but listen, Luna. The Empire is not what you think. Someone else sits on the throne now. Someone worse. They call him the Hollow King. He doesn't collect souls, he erases them, no stasis. No memory, just nothing." The image shifted. A black throne made of shattered planets. A figure cloaked in shadows, his face hidden, his hands dripping with void energy. "He found my archive," Celine continued. "He knows about you. About your light. And he's coming." The message ended. Luna sat very still. Ember lifted his head, his golden eyes wide with worry. Before she could decide what to do, the ship shuddered. Not from an explosion, from something worse. The stars outside began to dim one by one, as if being snuffed out by an invisible hand. The ship's power flickered. Life support groaned. Then silence. They were adrift in a pocket of dead space. A shape emerged from the darkness. Not a ship, not a station. A living void, a tear in reality shaped like a man floating toward them with impossible grace. The Hollow King had found her faster than she thought. Luna grabbed her blade and activated the emergency beacon. Though she knew no one would come in time, Ember leapt onto her shoulder, his scales darkening to battle black. The Void Man reached out. Just as his fingers brushed the hull, a second ship screamed into view, a sleek silver vessel shaped like a crescent moon. It fired a beam of pure sound, not light, and the Hollow King recoiled, his form rippling like disturbed water. The silver ship opened a comm channel. "Get aboard. Now." It was Celine's voice. Luna didn't hesitate. She launched the escape pod, clutching Ember tight as they shot across the gap. The silver ship's airlock opened just in time. Inside, the walls glowed with living moss and the air smelled of rain and old books. Celine stood waiting. She looked different. Her armor was gone, replaced by a simple gray tunic. Her eyes no longer burned, they were just eyes, tired and human. A scar ran down her left cheek, fresh and raw. "You came back," Luna said. "I never left," Celine replied. "I've been running from him too." They sat in the ship's quiet heart, a chamber lined with memory crystals, each one holding a rescued soul. Celine explained everything. After her fall from power, the Hollow King had risen from the Empire's deepest vaults, a being created from the collected fears of 1,000 conquered worlds. He fed on silence, on absence, and he saw Luna's light as a threat to his perfect void. "He's hunting every source of song in the galaxy," Celine said. "Poets, musicians, dreamers, even planets with strong emotional resonance. He's already silenced 3-star nurseries." Luna stared at her hands. "Why tell me this? Why help me?" "Because you're the only one who can fight him," Celine said softly. "Your light doesn't just shine, it remembers. And memory is the one thing he cannot erase." Ember chirped, nudging Celine's hand. She hesitated, then scratched behind his horns. He purred, a sound like distant thunder. For the first time, Luna saw no hunger in Celine's eyes, only regret and hope. They plotted their next move. The Hollow King's fortress floated in the silence between galaxies, a place called the Hush. To reach it, they needed a key, a songstone hidden on the planet Mira, a world known for its singing trees and crystal rivers. 2 days later, they landed on Mira under a sky streaked with auroras. The air hummed with music. Every leaf, every stone, every drop of water vibrated with melody. But something was wrong. The songs were fading. The trees stood silent, their bark gray and brittle. "He's been here," Celine whispered. They followed the weakest thread of song to a cave behind a waterfall. Inside, the last songstone glowed faintly, half buried in ash. As Luna reached for it, shadows peeled from the walls. Voidlings, creatures made of stolen silence, rose to block her path. They had no faces, no voices, only hollow chests where hearts should be. Ember roared, his fire turning blue with protective energy. Celine drew twin daggers forged from frozen echoes. Luna raised her blade, and the songstone flared to life in her hand, filling the cave with a chorus of ancient voices. The battle was swift and strange. Sound clashed with silence. Every note Luna sang pushed the voidlings back. Ember's fire burned away their emptiness. Celine moved like a ghost, her daggers cutting through silence itself. When it was over, the cave rang with music again. Back on the ship, Luna held the songstone to her chest. It pulsed in time with her heartbeat. "This won't be enough," she said. "No," Celine agreed. "But it's a start. They needed more. They needed allies." Their next stop was the Free Ring, a cluster of rebel stations orbiting a dead sun. There they found Captain Maya, a human pilot with cybernetic wings and a reputation for smuggling hope to the hopeless. Maya listened to their story, then laughed. "You want to fight the Hollow King? With a cat dragon and a fallen princess," she said, but her eyes were serious. "Fine. But you'll need more than songs. You'll need a weapon that can wound silence." She led them to an old vault beneath Station 7. Inside lay the resonance cannon, a device built by the first Star Elves designed to amplify a single voice into a galaxy-shaking note. "It's never been tested," Maya warned. "One wrong frequency and it could shatter your mind." "I'll take that risk," Luna said. As they prepared the cannon, Celine worked on modifying the ship. She wove memory crystals into the hull, turning the vessel into a living archive of songs. Ember helped by breathing stabilizing fire into the engine core. Slowly, the ship became more than metal. It became a voice. Weeks passed. Rumors spread. The Hollow King's void ships began appearing near rebel outposts, silencing entire colonies in minutes. But now people fought back. They sang. They played instruments. They told stories. Small acts of defiance, but enough to slow the king's advance. Finally, they were ready. The ship, now called the Last Chorus, jumped into the void between galaxies. The hush loomed ahead. A sphere of perfect silence, blacker than space, where not even light dared to linger. As they approached, the Hollow King appeared. He was taller than before, his form woven from the screams of silenced worlds. His voice when he spoke was the absence of sound. "You bring noise to my peace," he said, though his mouth never moved. "I will unmake you." The Last Chorus fired the resonance cannon. The note that erupted was not loud, it was deep. It reached into bones, into memories, into the spaces between thoughts. The Hollow King staggered. Cracks appeared in his form. Luna stood on the ship's bow, the songstone in one hand, her blade in the other. She began to sing, the song of Ilarion, the song of her mother, the song of every soul Celine had saved. Ember joined her, his fire turning into visible sound waves. Celine channeled the memory crystals, pouring every rescued voice into the chorus. Maya piloted the ship through the storm of silence, weaving between voidlings like a dancer. The Hollow King screamed, a sound so terrible it nearly broke the ship. But Luna sang louder. Light bloomed from her chest, pure and white, spreading across the hush like dawn after endless night. The silence shattered. Stars reappeared. Distant galaxies hummed back to life. The Hollow King fell to his knees, his form unraveling into harmless mist. "You cannot kill silence," he whispered, fading. "It always returns." "Maybe," Luna said. "But so does song." When it was over, the hush was gone. In its place floated a new star system, young and bright, its planets already humming with the promise of life. Back on the Last Chorus, no one cheered. They were too tired, too changed. Celine sat beside Luna on the observation deck watching the newborn stars. "What now?" she asked. Luna looked at Ember, now curled in her lap, fast asleep. "Now we keep singing." "For as long as we can," Celine nodded. "I'd like that." And for the first time in a long time, Luna believed they might have a future. Not as enemies, not as saviors, but as two women carrying light through the dark, one song at a time. The Last Chorus sailed through the newborn star system, its hull still humming with the echo of the song that had shattered the Hollow King. Outside, planets spun in gentle orbits, their surfaces already sprouting rivers, forests, and strange new flowers. that glowed with soft inner light. It was a miracle, life rising from silence, but Luna felt no joy, only exhaustion and a quiet fear that would not leave her. Ember slept at her feet, curled like a sun-warmed stone. Celine stood at the far end of the observation deck, arms crossed, staring into the void as if expecting the darkness to answer. Captain Maya had gone below to check the resonance cannon, which now pulsed with a slow, steady rhythm like a sleeping heart. They had won, but Luna knew better than to trust peace. 3 days later, the first sign came. A signal. Not from a ship, not from a station, but from deep inside one of the new planets. It was faint, broken, but unmistakable. It was singing, and the song was Alarian's lullaby, the one her mother used to hum. Luna played it over and over, her hands shaking. "That's impossible," she whispered. No one else knew that tune. Celine listened, her face unreadable. "Maybe it's a memory echo," she said. "The planet formed from the hush's remains. Maybe it absorbed fragments of what we sang. Or maybe someone survived," Luna said. They landed on the third planet, which they called Avra, dawn. In the old tongue, the air was sweet, the ground soft underfoot. Trees with silver leaves swayed without wind, and the rivers ran clear and warm. But the signal led them to a cave hidden behind a waterfall that sang as it fell. Inside, the walls shimmered with living crystal, and in the center of the chamber stood a woman. She looked like Luna. Same silver hair, same starlit eyes, but older, worn thin by time and sorrow. She wore tattered robes woven from comet tails, and around her neck hung a broken piece of the same songstone Luna carried. "Mother?" Luna breathed. The woman turned. Tears filled her eyes. "You came." Luna ran to her, dropping to her knees. Ember circled them both, purring loudly. Celine hung back, her expression guarded. Her mother's name was Lyra. She explained that when Alarian fell, she hadn't died. The elders had hidden her in a time fold, a pocket between seconds to preserve the last true song of their people. But the fold had cracked during the Hollow King's rise, spilling her into the hush just before Luna's final song. The newborn planet had pulled her in, and the land itself had kept her alive. "I heard you," Lyra said, touching Luna's cheek. "Even in the silence, your voice reached me." For 2 days they stayed in the cave. Lyra taught Luna songs she'd never heard, songs of creation, of healing, of binding broken stars. Ember listened intently, his scales shifting to match the tone of each melody. Even Celine sat quietly, absorbing every word. But on the third morning, the sky darkened. Not with clouds, with ships. Zenthra war cruisers, black and jagged, dropped from orbit like falling knives. Their hulls bore a new symbol, a crown made of chains. "The Hollow King is gone," Celine said, her voice tight. But the Empire didn't die with him. Someone else took the throne. A voice boomed from the lead ship. "Luna of Alarian, you are summoned by Empress Vera. Surrender the Songstone or this world will burn." Luna's blood ran cold. Vera was Celine's younger sister. Once a quiet girl who loved poetry, now a tyrant who saw emotion as weakness. "She won't listen to reason," Celine said. "She thinks feelings make you soft. She's purging all art, all music, all memory from the Empire." "Then we fight," Luna said. "Not here," Lyra said gently. "This world is too young, too fragile." They had to leave. But as they prepared to board the last chorus, Lyra placed a hand on Luna's arm. "Take this," she said, pressing a small crystal into her palm. "It holds the seed song, the first note the universe ever sang. If all else fails, play it. But be warned, it will demand a price." Luna tucked the seed song into her satchel beside the songstone. They lifted off just as the first plasma bolt struck the waterfall. Back in orbit, Maya cursed. "They've locked onto our engines. We can't jump." Celine stepped forward. "I can talk to her." "She'll kill you," Luna said. "Maybe," Celine replied. "But she might listen to me. I'm still her blood." Before anyone could stop her, Celine opened a comm channel and broadcasted openly. "Vera, it's me." The Empress's face appeared on screen. She looked nothing like the girl Luna remembered. Her eyes were hard, her hair shaved close to her skull, her uniform sharp and severe. "Traitor," Vera spat. "You sided with the noisemakers. You helped destroy order." "Order built on silence isn't order," Celine said. "It's fear. Fear keeps the galaxy safe," Vera snapped. "Emotion leads to chaos. Look at what your song did. Created a wild world full of unpredictable life." "That's dangerous." "Life isn't dangerous," Celine said softly. "It's beautiful." For a moment, Vera hesitated. Then her face hardened. "Surrender, Luna. or I will glass Evra from orbit. The channel cut. We're out of time, Maya said, gripping the controls. Luna looked at the seed song in her hand. It pulsed warmly as if eager. There's one thing we haven't tried. She climbed into the resonance cannon's chamber, a small pod at the ship's nose, designed to channel a single voice into pure sound. Ember followed, curling around her legs. Celine and Maya watched from the doorway. If this goes wrong, Celine began. It won't, Luna said. But if it does, keep singing. She placed the seed song into the cannon's core. The ship groaned as energy flooded its veins. Outside, the Zenthra fleet powered up their weapons. Luna closed her eyes and began to sing. Not the lullaby, not the battle hymn. The seed song, the first note. The universe remembered. Light exploded from the last chorus, not fire, not plasma, but pure creation. It washed over the Zenthra ships, not destroying them, but changing them. Metal softened into wood. Weapons bloomed into flowers. The black hulls turned silver, then green, then alive. On the bridge of the lead ship, Vera screamed as vines wrapped around her throne, not to choke, but to cradle. Memories flooded her. Her childhood, her sister's laughter, the poems she used to write in secret. The fleet stopped firing. Silence fell, but not the hollow kind. This silence was full, of breath, of wonder, of tears. Luna collapsed in the pod, drained. Ember licked her face, his warmth returning her to herself. When they boarded the Empress's ship, they found Vera kneeling in the garden that had grown from her command deck. She looked up, her eyes wet. I forgot, she whispered. I forgot how it felt to hope. Celine knelt beside her. You don't have to forget again. Back on Evra, Lyra welcomed them all. The planet had healed from the plasma strike. New trees already rising from the scorched earth. Maya decided to stay, saying the stars could wait. This place needed protectors. Weeks passed. The Xanthra Empire fractured. Some worlds rebelled. Others chose peace. Vera, with Celine at her side, began dismantling the chains of silence, replacing them with schools, theaters, and memory gardens. Luna stayed on Evra, teaching the seed song to those who would listen. Ember grew larger, his wings now able to shade entire fields. He spent his days playing with the planet's young, breathing gentle fire that made crops bloom overnight. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Luna sat with her mother beneath the silver trees. Do you think it's over? Luna asked. Lyra smiled. No, but it's quieter now, and that's enough. Luna looked out over the glowing fields. At the ships landing gently in the distance, refugees, artists, dreamers, all drawn by the song they'd heard in their sleep. She knew more shadows would come. More silences would try to swallow the light. But now they were not alone. They had each other. And as long as one voice remained, the song would never end. Months passed on Evra, and the world grew like a dream given time to breathe. Forests spread with silver leaves that chimed in the wind. Rivers sang as they wound through valleys filled with glowing flowers. Refugees from a dozen systems built homes not of steel, but of woven light and living wood, guided by the songs Luna and her mother taught them. Ember spent his days soaring above the clouds, his wings now wide enough to shelter entire villages from storms. Even the Zenthra ships that once brought war now carried seeds, books, and musicians, their hulls blooming with vines and soft moss. But peace, Luna knew, was never still. It was late evening when the first tremor came, not in the ground, but in the song. Luna stood by the crystal river, teaching a group of children how to shape water with melody. Suddenly the notes bent wrong. The river stilled. The air grew heavy, as if the sky itself held its breath. Ember landed beside her, his scales dull, his eyes wide with fear. Something's coming, he whispered, his voice like distant thunder. Luna ran to the high ridge where the memory spire stood, a tower made of fused songstones that pulsed with the planet's heartbeat. At its base, Celine and Vera were reviewing star charts. Both women looked up as Luna approached, their faces already grim. You feel it too, Celine said. Luna nodded. The silence is returning, not the Hollow King silence. This was different, older, colder, deeper. It didn't erase. It waited. That night, Lyra called a council beneath the twin moons. Maya arrived on her repaired scout ship, her cybernetic wings folded tight. Elders from the refugee camp sat beside former Zenthra officers, all listening as Lyra spoke. Long ago, she began, her voice soft but clear. Before the Star Elves, before the first galaxy spun, there was the Watcher. Not a being, not a god, but a presence. It watched the birth of light, the rise of song, and it grew. Jealous, it does not hate noise. It fears it. Because noise means change, and change means it might be forgotten. Is it coming here? Vera asked. It has already arrived, Lyra said. Not in body, in echo. It sent a shard of itself, a seed of perfect stillness, and it's growing in the core of Avra. Luna's blood ran cold. That's why the song twisted. They had to go deep into the planet's heart where the seed song had first taken root. Only a star elf could survive the journey. But Luna refused to go alone. Ember insisted on coming. Celine, knowing the Watcher's ways from forbidden archives, joined them. Maya would guard the surface. Vera would keep the refugees calm. At dawn, they entered the rootway, a tunnel of living crystal that spiraled down through the planet's layers. The walls glowed faintly, but the light dimmed the deeper they went. Soon, even Ember's fire cast no shadow. It's feeding on sound, Celine said, her voice barely above a whisper. Don't speak unless you must. They walked for hours. The air grew thin. Time itself felt sticky, slow. Luna's thoughts began to blur. She saw flashes. Ilarion burning, the Hollow King dissolving. Her mother smiled, but they slipped away like smoke. Then they saw it. In the planet's molten core, floating in a bubble of perfect black, was a stone no bigger than a fist. It had no color, no shape, only absence. Around it, the planet's song frayed and died. The Watcher's seed. Luna stepped forward, the song stone in her hand. It flickered weakly as if afraid. We can't destroy it, Celine said. It's not matter. It's anti-presence. If we attack it, it will only grow stronger. Then we give it what it fears, Luna said. What's that? A memory it can't ignore. She knelt at the edge of the void bubble and began to sing. Not a song of power, but of sorrow. She sang of loss, of loneliness, of the Watcher itself, alone in the dark before time, watching everything be born and never being asked to join. Ember added his voice, low and warm. Celine, after a moment's hesitation, joined too, her voice rough but true. The seed trembled. For the first time in eternity it was seen. The black bubble cracked, not with force but with feeling. Light seeped in, soft, golden kind. The seed didn't vanish. It changed. It became a pearl, smooth and white, humming with a single quiet note. The planet sighed. The song returned, stronger than before. They climbed back to the surface, exhausted but whole. The sky was clear. The rivers sang again. Children laughed in the fields. But as Luna looked up at the stars, she knew the Watcher was still out there, not defeated, changed. And change, she understood now, could go both ways. Weeks later, a new signal arrived. Not from the void, from the galactic core. It was a distress call wrapped in a nursery rhyme, one Luna's grandmother used to sing. Only 3 people had ever known that tune. Her mother, her grandmother, and Kira, Luna whispered. Kira had been her closest friend on Ilarion, a star elf with hair like wildfire and a laugh that could wake sleeping comets. She'd vanished during the fall, presumed dead. It could be a trap, Celine warned. Or it could be hope, Luna replied. They prepared the last chorus for one final journey. Maya upgraded the engines. Vera gifted them a shield woven from reformed Zenthra code, now a lullaby instead of a weapon. Lyra pressed a new songstone into Luna's hand, this one shaped like a key. Ember curled in the pilot's seat, already dreaming of distant skies as they lifted off. Hiver's people gathered to watch, singing softly. The ship rose on wings of sound, leaving a trail of light that lingered long after it vanished into the stars. The galactic core was a storm of gravity and light, a place few dared to enter, but the signal grew stronger, pulling them toward a dead star wrapped in chains of frozen time. There, orbiting the corpse of a sun, floated a station made of glass and bone. They docked in silence. Inside, the air smelled of old rain and burnt paper. Corridors twisted in impossible ways, floors shifting like breathing skin. At the heart of the station, in a room lined with mirrors, stood Kira, but she was not alone. Mirrors showed not reflections, but memories. Ilarion untouched, Luna and Kira as children. A future where they ruled side by side as song queens. And in the center, Kira smiled, her eyes glowing with silver fire. You came, she said. I knew you would. Luna stepped forward. Are you real? As real as memory, Kira replied. The Hollow King didn't kill me. He trapped me here, in the place between what was and what could be. The Watcher freed me, but at a cost. She turned, and Luna saw it. A shard of the Watcher's pearl embedded in her chest, pulsing with that same quiet note. It showed me a way to fix everything, Kira said. To undo Alarian's fall, to bring back everyone we lost. But I need your songstone, and your voice. Celine grabbed Luna's arm. Don't, it's not her. It's the Watcher wearing her skin. Kira's smile didn't fade. Or maybe it's the only way to heal the wound. Luna looked at Ember. He stared at Kira, his head tilted, then gave a soft chirp. Not warning, but sadness. You're not her, Luna said gently. My Kira would never ask me to erase the pain. She knew it made us strong. Kira's face twisted. The mirror shattered. The room filled with whispers, voices of the lost begging to be remembered, to be brought back. You have the power, the voices cried. Bring us home. Luna closed her eyes. She thought of Ivra, of the children learning to sing, of Celine's quiet courage, of Ember's warmth, of all the broken things that had become beautiful because they were allowed to heal, not be rewritten. No, she said. She raised the songstone and sang, not to destroy, but to release. The station trembled. The mirrors melted into rivers of light. Kira's form dissolved, not into nothing but into stardust that swirled upward, joining the dead star's ghost. The Watcher's shard floated free. Luna caught it. It was warm now, no longer cold. Back on the last chorus, they sat in silence for a long time. Was it worth it? Celine asked finally. Luna looked at the shard in her palm. We can't bring back the past, but we can honor it by building something new. As they turned toward home, a new signal bloomed on the comm. 1,000 voices, singing together from Eavra, from Zenthra, from worlds they'd never heard of. A chorus of survival, of hope. Ember purred, curling around Luna's wrist. And far away in the deepest dark, the Watcher listened, and for the first time it did not feel alone. The last chorus drifted through the quiet lanes of deep space, its hull still humming with the echo of 1,000 voices. Luna sat in the cockpit, the Watcher's shard resting in her palm like a sleeping bird. It no longer felt cold or empty. It pulsed gently in time with her heartbeat, as if learning what it meant to be alive. Ember lay across her lap, his scales shimmering with soft gold light. Celine stood at the navigation console, adjusting their course toward Eavra. Maya had stayed behind to help rebuild a refugee moon near the galactic rim, but she sent daily messages filled with jokes and star maps marked with new songs. Everything felt calm, too calm. Luna had learned that peace was never the end. It was the breath before the next storm. 3 days from home, the ship's sensors caught something strange. Not a signal, not a ship. A silence that moved. It came from the edge of the known galaxy near the Veil, a wall of cosmic dust where no star had ever formed. The silence wasn't empty like the Hollow King's. It was full of waiting, full of watching. It's the Watcher, Celine said, her voice low, but not the shard we left behind. This is bigger, Luna nodded. It's calling us. They changed course. The Veil was not a place. It was a boundary, the edge of creation where the universe stopped writing itself. Beyond it, nothing existed. Or so the old text claimed. As the last chorus crossed the threshold, the stars vanished, not faded, gone. The ship floated in pure white nothingness. No up, no down, no time. Then a shape appeared, not a body, not a face. Just a presence, vast, ancient, and achingly lonely. The Watcher. It did not speak. It showed. Images flooded Luna's mind. Galaxies being born in silence, stars singing their first notes, life crawling from oceans and reaching for the sky. And always the Watcher watched, never touching, never joining, afraid that if it stepped into the song it would break it. You don't have to watch from the outside, Luna said aloud, though she knew the Watcher heard her thoughts. The presence trembled. Slowly, carefully, Luna held out the shard. You gave us a piece of yourself. Now take a piece of us. She began to sing, the first song she ever learned, the one her mother sang when the twin suns of Alarian set. Ember joined her, his fire turning into visible notes that floated like fireflies in the void. Celine added her voice, rough but true. Even the ship hummed along, its memory crystals glowing bright. The Watcher reached out, not with hands, with feeling. The shard in Luna's palm lifted and flew into the white void. It merged with the Watcher, and for the first time the Watcher stepped into the song. Light bloomed, not from outside, From within, the veil shattered like glass, revealing a sky filled with new stars. Stars that had never existed before, born from the Watcher's first note. Planets formed in their orbits, oceans rose, winds began to blow. Life stirred in the dark, not because it was placed there, but because it was invited. The last chorus was pushed gently back into known space, riding a wave of newborn light. When they returned to Avra, the world had changed. The silver trees now bore fruit that glowed with soft music. The rivers ran in harmonies. Children born that week had eyes that shimmered like distant galaxies, and in the center of the memory spire, a new crystal had grown, clear as water, shaped like a heart, pulsing with the Watcher's song. Lyra met them at the landing field, tears in her eyes. "You didn't just save us," she said. "You gave the universe a new beginning." But Luna knew their work wasn't done. News came from the outer systems. Old enemies were stirring. Warlords who had fed on fear now saw the new light as weakness. They called it the sickness of song, and they vowed to burn it out. The first attack came on Station 7. Luna and Celine arrived too late. The station floated in ruins, its gardens ash, its songstones shattered. But in the wreckage they found survivors, huddled in a cargo bay, singing softly to keep their courage alive. Among them was a young girl with hair like starlight and eyes full of fire. She held a broken flute, but she played it anyway, the notes cracked but true. "They said music is dead," she told Luna, "but I told them dead things don't make you cry." Luna knelt beside her. "What's your name?" "Nova," the girl said. Ember nuzzled her hand. She laughed, and the sound was like dawn. They took Nova back to Avra. Lyra welcomed her like a granddaughter. Within days, Nova was learning the old songs and writing new ones. Ember followed her everywhere, his wings casting shade as she practiced under the silver trees. But the attacks continued. A farming moon near Zenthra went silent. A poet's colony vanished. Each time the same message was left behind. Silence is strength. Vera called an emergency council. "They're organizing," she said, calling themselves the Quiet Hand. "They believe emotion is chaos. They want to return the galaxy to order through silence." "We can't fight them with weapons," Celine said. "They'll just become martyrs." "Then we fight with song," Luna replied. They launched the chorus fleet, not warships, but vessels filled with musicians, storytellers, healers, and teachers. The last chorus led the way, its hull now lined with living speakers that broadcast lullabies into dead zones. Their first stop was the ash moon of Corrales, where the Quiet Hand had silenced an entire city. As the chorus fleet entered orbit, the enemy ships rose to meet them, sleek, black, and soundless. But Luna didn't fire. She opened all channels and began to sing. Not a battle cry. A lullaby. Ember's fire turned blue, washing over the enemy ships like gentle rain. The music seeped into their hulls, into the hearts of the pilots. One by one, their weapons powered down. On the surface, the people of Corrales emerged from hiding. They joined the song. Then the enemy soldiers stepped from their ships, tears in their eyes, and sang too. The Quiet Hand didn't fall in battle. It dissolved in harmony. Word spread. Wherever the chorus fleet went, silence broke like ice on a spring river. Prisoners sang in their cells. Soldiers laid down their guns. Even the leaders of the Quiet Hand began to question their cause. But one remained unmoved. General Rourke, a human warlord who had lost his family in the early Zenthra wars, stood on his fortress world, vowing to end the noise plague once and for all. He had built a weapon, the Mute Core, a device that could drain all sound from a star system, leaving only perfect dead silence. Luna knew they had to stop him, but not with force. They landed on his world under a blood-red sky. The air was thick with fear. Rourke waited in his command tower, surrounded by guards who moved like ghosts. Luna went alone. Ember stayed behind. Celine argued, but Luna shook her head. He doesn't need a warrior. He needs to be heard. In the tower, Rourke stood before a window, watching the stars. He looked old, tired, broken. "You think your songs can fix what's broken?" he asked without turning. "No," Luna said, "but they can hold the broken pieces until you're ready to mend them." She didn't sing. She listened. For hours, Rourke spoke. Of his daughter's laugh. Of his wife's last words, of the silence that followed. Luna sat with him in that pain, offering no cure, only presence. When dawn came, Rourke deactivated the Mute Core. "Take it," he said. "Turn it into something that helps, not hurts." Back on Evra, they did just that. With Lyra's guidance and Nova's fresh ideas, they rebuilt the mute core into the Echo Loom, a device that could weave lost voices back into the world, giving the forgotten a chance to be heard again. Months passed, the galaxy healed. Luna stood one evening on the high ridge watching the twin moons rise. Ember lay beside her, his breath warm in the cool air. Celine joined her, holding 2 cups of starroot tea. "Do you ever miss the quiet?" Celine asked. Luna smiled. "Quiet is fine. Silence is the enemy." Below them, Nova played her flute, the notes rising like birds into the night. Children danced in the fields. Elders told stories under the silver trees. Even the wind carried a melody. They had not ended all pain, but they had made room for joy beside it. And as the first stars blinked awake, Luna knew the song would go on, not because it was perfect, but because it was shared. Somewhere far beyond the veil, the Watcher listened and sang along.